Hey YouTube, VenomMan20 here tonight. If you're looking for awesome snake content, that'll be Friday's video, because tonight we're just going to be talking about snake handling, venomous snake handling in particular. So this video might be a little bit boring for some, but a lot of people are here to learn. So we're going to be going through the tools that we actually use as venomous snake handlers to keep ourselves safe. So let's go ahead and dive on into it. So I have everything laid out here on the table in front of me. I'm going to be going through everything that we use. I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown on what I like, what I don't like. Some of the tools maybe are something that you've never seen before. Actually works out quite decently. I'm not telling you to go ahead and use these tools for venomous snake handling. This is just a little bit of insight as to how we do what we do, and we'll be teaching you from here on out different handling techniques and stuff like that. So don't jump into it yet. Don't be getting crazy. This is not a rush to death because these animals are very serious. But let's go ahead and talk about the #1 used handling snake tool in the world. This is a snake hook. This is actually a Midwest collapsible hook, and I don't like these. The reason, because it's getting shorter. That's a problem because it's tight. It's really tight. So with that being said, it was a decent idea, and I think Midwest did it very well, but just overall, it just doesn't last. Now, that lasts a lot better than other collapsible hooks. I've used other collapsible hooks, I just don't like them. It makes me a little bit nervous, afraid it's gonna break. Broken hook is horrible. You got a snake out here, it breaks, that isn't good. This right here, of course I'm gonna preach my own brand. This is my VenomMan signature hook. These are gonna be available here in a few weeks. If you're interested, let me know. But yeah, I like it because it's light and I haven't been able to break one yet. So I'm excited for that. If you got something bigger, here we go. This is a hook made by Stony Animal Handling Equipment. It's right here. But I like this because it helps support the girth of the snake. Not only that, you can tuck your elbow and actually lift the snake better like that. So that's a pretty good hook. And I have never broke one of those. I don't think those things break. Like, I've seen Stony try to break them. It's a good hook. This is probably my favorite hook ever made. And I'm trying to make a VenomMan signature hook this size that's this awesome, but it's hard because this is a really good hook. This is made from Midwest. This is a Midwest Mini. I love this hook to death. I use it for everything, unless it's a big snake. But anyway, we'll go ahead and move on. That's our hooks. People have their own personal preferences. You know, that's just something you gotta get used to, what you like, what you dislike. See, for me, my signature hook, I made with a very small hook end because I like very small hook ends. If I'm working big rattlesnakes, that ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to use something different. Which I also have them with bigger hook ends, but just saying. Next, we got tongs. These are normally considered feeding tongs. I also use these sometimes to pull poop out of the cage or pull a water dish out of the cage. We use these every day. These are very important. These are hemostats, so they lock. These do not lock. These flex though, but these can grab a big water dish, so I like them. I like locking hemostats better, but these are shorter. And I will tell you first and foremost, if you're ever handling a venomous snake, distance is in your favor every time, every time. If you're 20 foot from a snake, you are 100 times safer than if you're 4 foot from a snake. This is not safe. This is only used for a snake that's like this big. We are always out of strike range with these. I seen somebody using these to feed a snake, video on the internet, and he got bit by what looks to be a saw scale viper. That's the deadliest viper on earth. That kills more people than any other snake on earth. That guy might not be here anymore. So really, length is your game. You need these. Longer, the better. Long freaking tongs. You don't want to mess around with that, especially because if a snake feels like it's in danger, it's going to inject venom every time. They have the ability to give you as much venom as they want or as little venom as they want. So with that being said, if you're using those as feeding tongs, they're like, I gotta kill that prey item, they're much more likely to give you a fatal dose of venom. We're gonna pretend like every bite's a wet bite. We're not gonna assume that any of them's gonna be dry because that's stupid, you know. But with that being said, distance is key. So that's why I have these. These are Midwest Gentle Giant tongs. These are I do believe these are the 40-inch. So I use these for feeding bushmasters, large constrictors, crocodilians. Works great for those. You could use these to feed a baby viper. And I mean, there's your distance right there, you know? And you're probably thinking, those are to grab a snake. I've never grabbed a snake with these, ever. Never have. I've known people that use them. Some people don't ever close them. They just use them right here, you know, and the snake can't turn back around, and that's cool, I guess. I don't like these to grab a snake. Number one, spine is on the top of the snake. Putting pressure down on the spine of the snake, it's really hard on it. Not only that, a lot of snakes have an instinctual thought that if you grab a snake like that, it thinks bird, like bird of prey, and it panics. It's like, I've got to get away. Mambas freak out. They don't like it at all. So with that being said, the snake's freaked. If it gets out of these, that snake is flying. That snake is going nuts. So they do have their purpose. If you're in the brush and you need to catch a snake, you're doing reptile relocation, these are very handy. I always have these in the background of filming. You might not see them. They're normally out of view because I don't want people to be like, oh, what kind of tongs are those? I don't know how to use tongs, but what kind of tongs are those? I use them in what if the snake's getting away from me? You know, let's say the black mamba shoots behind the file cabinets in the video. He didn't, but you know, what if he did? We can use these as an oh crap measure. So that's what my tongs are used for. Feeding. Feeding, picking up poops, taking out water dishes. Never to grab snake unless it is the last ditch effort. Here we have a spray bottle, basic spray bottle. We spray arboreal vipers because many of them don't drink from water dishes. With that being said, your fingers are right there. That's not safe. You don't want to be that close. So unless we have tiny little vipers and we don't want to drown them, we use this. This, you can get a longer one than that, and that would be cool. This was never used for chemicals, but it is actually designed to spread chemicals like weed killer and you know, like pest control chemicals. But these give you a little bit of a distance, your hands back farther, your fingers ain't right there, right up next to the snake. You know, so these are great. These are also great to just barely slip through a door, fill up a water dish. I'll be demonstrating this in later videos, different techniques and stuff. This is just giving you an overall view of what I use. So let's go ahead and move on. I see a lot of people buying bite-proof gloves. Okay, we got a problem here. How do they put these bite-proof gloves together? They sew them, right? So if these are puncture-proof gloves because they're made out of Kevlar or whatever, how do they get the sewing needle to go through the fabric? That's one of the best examples I've ever heard. I have known people personally that have been bit through bite-proof gloves. So I never use them. These I would use. These are not bite-proof. These are just a welding glove. That's KT Industries. That's a big welding company, whatever. I use these for like the coral snake. I don't trust that they're bite-proof. I never grabbed the coral snake with this. But with him, you know, feeding him is very strenuous. So therefore, these are handy because he likes to fling. What if? You know, these can definitely reduce the risk. I mean, there's even a statistic out there that blue jeans reduces your risk of being envenomated with rattlesnakes. Because the second they hit that fabric, they tend to grab. And you're like, but Venom man, you're always in shorts. That's a nerve issue. Technically, I should be wearing jeans, but kind of puts my head elsewhere because of the pain involved. But don't rely on bite-proof gloves. These gloves are great, these gloves or bite-proof gloves, as a second line of defense. But the biggest problem is people get confident in them. They give them that false sense of security. There's nothing wrong with them. They're worth the money. You know, go out, buy bite-proof gloves, buy bite-proof boots. That's great. But don't rely on them. You know, the snake should never be close enough to your legs anyway. Watching Jim Harrison from Kentucky Reptile Zoo, absolute genius, worked with more venomous snakes I've ever seen in my life. He wears bite-proof boots. He doesn't rely on them. You know, he never puts a snake, hey, you know, bite-proof boots. He doesn't do that. He wears them as his last line of defense. So these are also great to defer heat. Like I work with a lot of pit vipers, you got these on, they can't see your hand nearly as well. It looks like an inanimate object to them. If I put this hand in the cage, they're going to see it a lot better. These could stop a mamba fang, maybe, you know. So it would be good to use this on my hooking hand, you know, or tailing hand. It's possible, you know, but don't ever rely on it. My battery died, so I had to reframe the shot, but let's get back into this. So next up on the list, we have tubes. Everybody wants to use their hands, and I get it. We were born with these. We understand how to use these properly, but we're going to have to learn how to use tools. If you're using your hands, you're going to get bit. You can't afford to lose a finger. With that being said, tubes. Everybody wants to pin a snake. The second they see a venomous snake, they're like, let's pin the snake. We're going to pin it. We're going to grab it by the head. Then it can't bite me. What you don't know is a gaboon viper is almost an unpinnable snake. It's a very hard snake to pin. It can bite through its own jaw, you know. That's a dangerous animal. Malayan pit vipers. Malayan pit vipers actually have loose skin on the back of their neck almost. And some herpetologists are going to say, well, no, they don't. They're really, really, really hard snake to pin. They have the ability to turn like no other. Did you know that? I mean, maybe you knew that, but if you didn't know that, if you would have tried to pin that snake, you would have got bit by that snake. So I've pinned snakes probably 3 times in my entire life. I've been doing this 15 years. I've never felt the need to pin the snake. I just don't need to. I can do everything I've ever needed to do with tubes. You run the snake's head up into the tube, now you have full control of the snake. You can do anything you want to. We have different size tubes. These come in an entire set. I don't have an entire set because some of them are kind of cracked, and that's a problem. I'm going to go back to Jim Harrison, not trying to pick on him. He's a great guy, very intelligent man. He cleans these. He works with a lot of snakes. He cleans these, and after he gets done cleaning them, from what I heard, the story I heard, he tends to put them in the sun. When he puts them in the sun, the UV kills any bacteria, so it takes care of any viruses. He has a huge snake collection. I mean, it makes sense that he's always battling possible microbials, you know? So with that being said, the sun actually weakens these over time. So does the bleach, so does any chemical you're using to clean them. So with that being said, he was using a tube on a Bothrops, a Fer-de-Lance, and apparently whenever he tubed it, it shook really hard because they hate being touched, and when it did, it broke through the tube and bit him. So, I mean, that's not his fault. You know, maybe he should have checked the tube a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to blame him for that. You know, you can't, really. But it's something you got to be mindful of. You got to be very careful with these. You got to buy new ones every once in a while, you know, pretty often. As much as he's using them, I mean, it makes sense. That's something that you just, if you're not milking snakes with venom, you have no need to pin them. You know, I pinned a cobra in a video to remove an eye cap because I didn't have a tube. It was stupid. Shouldn't have did it. That's what it comes down to. Pinned a small snake to force feed it. Now I see people force feed with tubes, and I'm like, wow, that is 100 times easier. That is genius. So one thing, if you have an oh crap instance with the baby snake, I had a friend that had an oh crap instance a while back, use a sponge. Your fingers are still pretty far away. If you have a glove, I get the sponge on the stick. This is just the only thing I had laying around. But you take the sponge and you actually put the pressure on the snake with the sponge. It makes sure it doesn't hurt its delicate little neck, you know, or whatever. These are good because, like I said, you don't have to be precise if you have to do something real quick. Whatever that might be, this might be the better method if it's something, you know, on a tiny little snake. But let's move on to some stuff that you might not have thought about. This is a godsend. If you never have the issue, you're never going to need it, you're going to think it's a waste of money. Hang a hook in the center of the ceiling of your venomous room, and you hang this and turn it on while you're working anything venomous. Why? What if the power goes out? In my venomous room, I have wall-to-wall cages. There's not a window in the building because I got wall-to-wall cages. Where would I put a window? Doesn't make sense, right? If I'm handling a black mamba, I've got it right about here. We're going to put it in the can and the lights go out. What do? I mean, throw the black mamba? That's stupid. You definitely don't want to keep holding it though. That's stupid. So, I mean, there's not a good option. If the lights go out, all power goes out. I mean, sometimes that happens without a storm even being around. You know, don't handle in inadequate weather, but it might not be inadequate weather. So it's very good to have a lantern, have a flashlight. If you have a flashlight, you want to sit it somewhere. I do it all the time. Paper towels. Why are there paper towels there? Well, because I sit crap down in stupid places. So I'm working over here, flashlight's over here. Where's the mamba? I don't know, I can't see. Maybe he's behind me by now. You know, so it's nice to have that on all the time as a backup. You're like, man, what happens if the lights go out? That's not a lot of light, but it's enough light that hopefully I can see where the mamba is. Until we can get the flashlights, we can figure out how we're going to get him back safely. Anyway, next. These are something important. If you're cleaning out bedding and you're moving it around, you're stirring up dust. When you're stirring up dust, you're stirring up venom. And you're like, but my venomous snake doesn't, there's not venom everywhere. There is venom everywhere. Every time that snake eats, there's venom in the fecal. There's venom in the bedding. Every time you clean a cage without some sort of respiration, filter, you are inhaling all that. As you're inhaling these particles, you're becoming hypersensitive to the venom. That's not good. It is very smart. If you're just changing out a water dish, I think you're okay. The more you wear it, the better. But I think there's a lot of things if you're just cleaning the glass, maybe. But if you're doing a full cage clean, put it on the second you start screwing with the bedding. That way you're not going to become hypersensitive. Because if you become hypersensitive, you can easily get bit and die. I've known people. One of my best friends got bit and died because of a hypersensitivity. And that was from a snake that never should have killed him. So that being said, that's very close to my heart. Be careful. Having an EpiPen on hand is genius. Having liquid Benadryl, I don't know that it's going to work quick enough. EpiPen's the way to go. And it isn't good to have one EpiPen, it's really good to have 2 EpiPens. They say that if you have a peanut allergy, you should have 2, just in case if one of them fails, it's nice to have another one. But we can get into that in another video because I don't have that to show you here. I just have the tools. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you come back next Wednesday. You can learn some more about venomous snake keeping. Like I said, I'm not giving you out a certificate to go handle venomous snakes on your own or anything like that, but I'm just trying to show you the ins and the outs just to get you a little bit more educated. I don't want you to go tomorrow to your reptile expo and buy something venomous because I told you how to use a snake hook. Doesn't work like that. Because in all honesty, you really need a guy that can stand back there that's been doing it for years and look at how you're moving and be like, don't do that. Move your foot back a little bit. And you're like, move your foot back a little bit. He knows. He's been doing it for years. Don't ask questions, just listen. That's the way to truly learn. But I will teach you everything that I possibly can through video. So then even if you have a great mentor, you can learn from me too. We can share our knowledge. If anybody thinks that I forgot something, go ahead and put it into the comments. I'm totally fine with that too. I'm here to learn just as well as you guys are. So new snake video out Friday. I'm gonna try to do something Saturday too. Not sure what yet. Monday we'll have something fun to play with as well. So y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you for checking us out. Make sure you subscribe.